Joe Hart, who was injured in the recent match at Hull, has still started every Premier League game for Manchester City this season. The back four is unchanged from the midweek win over Schalke, with Vincent Kompany lining up there now. Stephen Ireland has been the driving force in the City midfield with 4 goals in his last 3 games. And he's back. Robinho, absent on Thursday with an ankle injury, returns for Dan Sturridge in the only change to that side. The other Brazilians, Elano and Joe, join Sturridge on a bench that also includes the son of United legend Peter Schmeichel, goalkeeper Kasper. Edwin van der Sar, rested for Villarreal on Tuesday, returns in goal for United. There's a huge vote of confidence for 18-year-old Rafael, whose first taste of this fixture comes at the expense of the more experienced John O'Shea. Darren Fletcher has returned since the last league game after a knee injury. But the unexpected bonus is the quicker than expected recovery from a hamstring injury of Dimitar Berbatov, for whom this should be his kind of stage. Amongst United's substitutes, Ryan Giggs, who was 35 yesterday, the former City schoolboy, has appeared in all of the Premier League clashes of these sides. Well, experience in this fixture is varied, but Rio Ferdinand is tasting the Manchester derby for the 12th time, and his opposite number, Richard Dunn, for the 14th. It is Superstar Wars at Eastlands, but will it be the Brazilian or the Portuguese who comes out on top with the pride of Manchester at stake?
Chelsea and Arsenal is for later. Our first live Barclays Premier League football this afternoon is the derby in Manchester City against the champions, of course. Interactive. If you're a Sky Digital viewer and wish to enjoy that facility, push the red button on your remote control and you will find that menu page. And it's worth a look as well. What a day this is in Manchester. Let's go and join our commentators, Alan Smith and Rob Hawthorne.
Well, as a Manchester United player, Mark Hughes had a good record in this fixture, losing only once. But those past ties forgotten today as he comes up against his old boss, Sir Alex Ferguson, for whom this is a 33rd derby. The first, a 1-0 FA Cup win. The worst, a 5-1 beating at Main Road 19 years ago that sent him into hiding. And Mark Hughes scored United's goal that day. It was a statement of intent from Manchester City when they had their newfound money that Dimitar Berbatov was one of the players they went for, trying to hijack his move from Spurs to Old Trafford. But he lines up against City here today. Well, if you told Manchester City at the start of last season that they would do the league double over Manchester United, their supporters would probably have said there was as much likelihood of signing a £32.5 million Brazilian who would take the tram to the Trafford Centre. Well, all that has happened in the intervening 15 months or so what does City dare to dream of next? Rio Ferdinand. And here is Dimitar Berbatov. Park has actually started on the right and Ronaldo on the left, but as ever, Alan Smith, I'm sure we'll see a fair bit of flexibility in the way Manchester United line up.
Yeah, I think so. I've seen Ronaldo before start on the one flank and after 5 minutes just swap over to keep the opposition thinking, but what a mouth-watering prospect this is.
Well, we saw Darius Vassell get very close to Ronaldo in the sort of marking that he can expect today. Ronaldo, who came off worse when Robinho's Brazil played Portugal and beat them 6-2 recently. Benjani went for the header. Robinho will be hoping for a similar outcome to the international here, or certainly to finish on the winning side. It's Micah Richards lining up the throw-in. It's Carrick with a header away. Dietmar Hamann with a header. On by Richards and away by Vidic. And here is Cristiano Ronaldo finding Dimitar Berbatov.
There's so much expectation, isn't there, swirling around Manchester City at the moment. You can just imagine Sir Alex Ferguson in that away dressing room beforehand, just reminding his players that they're the Premier League champions, they're the champions of Europe, and let's go and, never mind about the statement of intent from City, let's go and show everybody here in front of millions worldwide just who is the boss.
Well, Wayne Rooney, like his manager, has made the point this week that for all the money they apparently have, they will start worrying about City when they start winning trophies. Here's Raphael, who escapes his fellow countryman Robinho, who's trying to get back at him, and it's cleared by Dunn to Stephen Ireland. Now Hamann. This is Garrido, who came off at half-time against Schalke, but has recovered to start again today.
It is such an attacking lineup that City have picked today, as they have in the last few games. I mean, you look at the front six, and really only Didi Hamann has got those defensive instincts.
The ball from Evra was looking for Rooney. It was a defensive intervention that Kompany had to make. Here's Dunn. Now Garrido. This is Hamann. And here's Robinho, who started nominally out on the left, but is prone to drift. Some show of faith in youth that Sir Alex Ferguson has put Raphael in there today against his fellow countrymen.
Well, he's like that, isn't he, Ferguson? When he has faith in a player, he doesn't care what the occasion is, never mind that he's only 18, and he's only made a couple of Premier League starts, and this is his third. He's got faith in Raphael, and he'll learn a lot about his player, I'm sure, by putting him in this kind of occasion.
Here's Berbatov. Now Ronaldo. Going to show a clean pair of heels to Richards, and then to Wright Phillips, but it was Vassell who came back and took the ball away from him. Richards, the header by Benjani, and it's back by Patrice Evra, who made his Manchester United debut in this fixture. Not a particularly happy one either. He was substituted at half-time in a defeat here. Time for even the most experienced players to settle themselves down. Headed by Evra. Here's Kompany. Now Richard Dunn. Garrido. Stephen Ireland. Ball from Dunn, looking to seek out Ireland. It was Rafael da Silva who made the header and then got caught by the Irishman.
Fairly measured start, really, for a derby. So many foreign lads out there, of course. But it's not as frenetic as we've seen in years gone by, so far at least.
Yes, there's only one Manchester-born player in either squad, and that's Dan Sturridge, who's on the bench today for City. Here's Berbatov. The man got a toe to it. He worked the opening here for Fletcher, who looked to get away from Richard Dunn.
And Berbatov just pulling across to that right-hand side to try and find a little bit of space. He drifts into all sorts of positions, doesn't he? Just where the mood takes him.
Well, it's a surprise that they've got Berbatov in the team. He'd been pretty much ruled out at the start of the week because of a hamstring injury. But his reappearance means more frustration today for Carlos Tevez on the bench. Here's Ferdinand. Now Nemanja Vidic. You'll be disappointed if you expected a pretty gung-ho start here. It has been measured, fairly tentative. Now Raphael took it past Garrido.
What a great opportunity that was, and what a great run from the youngster. City just standing off when United have got the ball, just trying to keep the shape, but it is a dangerous tactic, you know, as shown there.
Nice touch again from Raphael. Fletcher looking to get it across.
They're not pressing United, getting close, just trying to keep the shape and getting bodies in between the ball and their goal. United have got that passing and that movement, capable of cutting through.
Michael Carrick's header. Carrick was challenged and wins the free kick, with which he looks to find Rooney, but Kompany an easy tap away. But this is Ronaldo. This is Darren Fletcher. Carrick moved on by Evra. Ronaldo with a touch to Rooney. Broken up in the end by Dietmar Hamann.
They're just able to string a few passes together. I know it's not in particularly dangerous areas in the middle of the park, but no real contact on the United players so far. Nobody there to remind them. They've got the game on their hands.
There's Ronaldo. Carrick. Now Berbatov. First time across from Park, and Rooney's onto that! First real sight of goal, and it may still have happened. The goalkeeper spilt it, and Fletcher suddenly got there. But City did enough.
Well, nobody expected Joe Hart to spill it, least of all Darren Fletcher. But again, no pressure on the ball, and they just cut through City.
Berbatov with the layoff. It's Fletcher. Looks for Berbatov again. The clearance only to Rooney. And for the first time, that City defence betraying signs of nerves, particularly in the handling of their goalkeeper there.
Yeah, that's been a nervous old start. The ideal start for the visitors, dominating possession at the moment.
Here's Park. Now Carrick. They've built well down that right-hand side where Rafael da Silva has given useful support to Ji-sung Park. And it was from that side that the threat materialised. Rooney suddenly freeing himself.
Well, with the players that Manchester City have got on there, they really need some protection for Garrido. But it was all a little bit too easy, wasn't it? Gets a deflection into Rooney's path. And he puts his head in his hands after this because he's really disappointed he doesn't make Joe Hart work a bit more than he did. He shouldn't have actually had to work that hard, but they get away with it, City. I think Garrido will be asking for a bit more help. Stephen Ireland obviously is an attacking player. He likes to bomb on, and Robinho, well, he's not going to be funneling back too much on that side to help out the left back.
Here is Ireland. And Johnny moving up onto the shoulder of Rio Ferdinand. And here's Vidic. It's Ireland's header. Now Hamann. Garrido. Away by Rafael. It's Wright Phillips with a touch. Micah Richards. Well, Richards furious, thought he should have had a throw-in, but the verdict goes in Evra's favour.
10 minutes in and they haven't got going yet, have they, City? Haven't started. Right, local derby. The first thing visitors want to do is just try and put the lid on the atmosphere, and Manchester United they've certainly dominated the early play with the possession.
Howard Webb, the experienced referee in charge, refereed Manchester City's win at Old Trafford back in February, the first time that he'd officiated in this fixture. Here's Rooney, looked to slip a ball through to Park or Ronaldo, who'd gone on ahead of him. A man put himself in a spot of bother against Fletcher. Ireland. And that's Garrido. Well, Carrick has won the free kick. It's Robinho's challenge.
Just can't get hold of that ball in the middle of the park. And when you've got just one man up front in Benjani, who isn't the best sometimes at holding the ball up, and he will struggle against Ferdinand and Vidic. Really got to try and get good quality ball into him from a shorter distance.
Rooney. Carrick. Here's Vidic. Now Carrick. Ferdinand. Got a pressure from City, but no joy with possession. That's a lovely ball from Carrick to Evra, who's made the forward run. And it's come off company. Great United move again that's yielded a corner.
Well, they just can't get near it at the moment. Manchester City really are being pushed and pulled all over the place. Both full-backs for United getting forward, and it was a sublime pass from Michael Carrick to release Patrice Evra.
Rooney with a corner. By Ireland against Darren Fletcher, but it comes back to Rooney. A man away this time. Rooney again. Fletcher. Berbatov. Laid back to Vidic. And it's Ronaldo who has a go, but it's a straightforward block from Garrido. Ronaldo gets it across though, and it's done away.
Again, really shouldn't have been allowed to get that ball across. Just bending it around the play. Back at him, he wasn't quite ready for it, Ronaldo.
Well, thankfully he sees sense and has a smile about it. Ronaldo climbing! So dangerous there.
Well, he has got this ability, hasn't he? From a standing start almost to get real height with his jump. He's got a couple up against him now. There's Micah Richards that's picking him up originally, and he squeezed in between two to get in the header.
Sir Alec Ferguson was complaining about the rough treatment he's had on him, and that of course continued against Villarreal in the week. But treads a fine line in these fixtures between dazzling with his skills and winding up opposing players and fans. Look for Rooney from that ball. Rooney would probably have been offside anyway had he gone for it. Here's Haman. Here's Robinho. Looking to pick out Sean Wright-Phillips, but Patrice Evra saw that pass all the way.
Well, need to try and play a little bit of football in Manchester United's half, even better in their defensive third if they can keep the ball. Unmanaged so far.
Ireland looking for Richards. His boot was high. And they caught Vidic. The referee just wants to stop it to make sure they're both okay. Richards actually sort of come off worse.
Well, it looked an innocent enough challenge. I think it was a dangerous one because his boot was up as Vidic is trying to tell the referee. There you go, stud marks down the chest. Just anxious City to really apply a little bit of pressure. It's a player's got an eye on the ball and certainly catches Vidic. It's a dangerous challenge. The referee had played on and brought it back afterwards.
He's had to go off temporarily for the brief bit of treatment he had, but he's been keen to show the marks to Howard Webb and his assistant. Just one of those balls that Micah Richards felt he had to go for. And Vidic is never one to hold back, is he? Always puts his body on the line. Well, a quarter of an hour gone, and United have unquestionably had the better of the opening exchanges.
Decided to give a free kick now because he hadn't given it before. He let the play go on.
Hughes was seeking an explanation from the referee. Both of the players are now back on. Here's Carrick. Headed by Company to Richard Dunn. Clearance by Hart was aimed for Robinho. It's heavy from Dunn.
Just a little bit of anxiety on the Manchester City team at the moment. Frustrated they can't get going. The lack of options in possession when they get the ball at the back. I feel they need to work a little bit harder in terms of finding movement. Give the teammates an option.
Away by Vincent Kompany. And it was a fixture in which Sven-Göran Eriksson had a flawless record, a 1-0 win here at the start of last season through Giovanni. A 2-1 success at Old Trafford back in February. United wounded by those defeats.
Just a little bit of a zip, sharpness lacking for Manchester City's play at the moment. Certainly not as sharp when they get the ball as United have been in possession.
Maybe a spillover from the fact that their European match was later in the week than United's. 3 days to recover since that victory over Schalke. They're coming in buzzing with confidence off the 2 results they've had against Arsenal in the league and against Schalke in Europe. Free kick. Fletcher just clipped Shaun Wright-Phillips. So, a word of explanation.
It looked innocuous enough at the time when Darren Fletcher came through. He just caught him on the knee.
Ninth appearance in the derby for Shaun Wright-Phillips, who scored in a 4-1 victory here back in March 2004. Still looking uncomfortable, Wright-Phillips. Richards with the throw, back by Benjani. And it's cleared in the end by Carrick after the ball had bounced up onto the hand of Vassell. There's Raphael, now Park. Michael Carrick. Vidic. This is Rafael da Silva. Park looking for his first touch to take it past Dunn, who's a strong customer to get around, but he's given away a free kick there.
That was a lovely first touch from Ji-sung Park, it really was. On the turn, on the run. Richard Dunn was always struggling after that, although he's not slow by any means, the centre-half. Park looked sharp, first 20.
He's become a favoured pick in the league as Ji-sung Park, enjoying his best run in the side in the Premier League now for 2.5 years. Rooney, who took an earlier corner, now taking this free kick, looking for Fletcher. Berbatov was in there as well. And it's Ireland who gets it away to Robinho, who's up there on his own. Well, Raphael felt that he'd won the ball from his compatriot there. The referee disagreed, and the throwing away of the ball is risking a booking here. Are we going to see the first card? Howard Webb going towards the youngster, and sure enough, that the throwing away of the ball more than the foul produces the first booking.
Yeah, he's just kind of tossed it in the air, behind the area where the free kick should have been taken, and it did delay the taking of the free kick. Robinho hasn't had a chance to settle. A couple of minutes before that, Rafael dispossessed the Brazilian. There you go, it's more a little toss into the air than a shock 20 yards away, but the end result is the same, yellow card.
And it gives Rafael da Silva a bit of a problem now. A psychological advantage for Robinho, who's up against him.
It's a good example, though, with the challenge of the fact that United are winning individual battles all around the pitch. Sharper in every department at the moment.
Patrice Evra's throw. Here's Haman. Ireland. Now Benjani. It's a good challenge. Vidic won the ball. Rooney. Now Fletcher. Here's Park. It's Raphael's cross. Berbatov's header. And Hart at full stretch.
That was a typical Berbatov effort, it really was. Just a nonchalant twist of the neck and trying to guide it into that far post, and what a good effort it is. Really has to shift his feet, Joe Hart, to move across his goal line. It's a really good save.
Well, we'll feel better about that than the way he dealt with Rooney's shot earlier. It's Rooney again in this dead ball situation. Rooney's corner, cleared by Ireland. Carrick. Fletcher, pursued by Garrido. Now Evra. Park. Positive challenge by Sean Wright-Phillips. He's still labouring a little with his movement.
When you think about him, about Benjani, Robinho, Stephen Ireland, how many times have we seen them on the ball? Very little.
Park just dragging that one through for Darren Fletcher. Now Carrick looking to clip one over the top. Company away, Dunn away. And here's Vassell. City looking for their players to create a greater or more exertive performance here when on the ball, but they've given it away cheaply again. Robinho has retrieved it from Fletcher. Pressure from Park, and here's Fletcher emerging with it.
Well, it's going to take some of that work, right, that desire to win back possession from City that Robinho just showed in a flash there, for them to try and get a foothold in this game. At the moment, they're nowhere.
Ronaldo into the path of Rooney. Berbatov lost his footing. Carrick. Fletcher. Berbatov. City trying to make it difficult to play through them, but they've found Fletcher. And here's Ronaldo, and that is untypical of him.
It was a waste. We've got a couple of people in the box waiting for a little curve cross, but again they've worked the ball onto the edge of City's 18-yard area without really a physical challenge. Anybody getting the foot in.
Header out by Patrice Evra. Tended to be all or nothing with Manchester City this season. 5 Premier League wins, all by a 3-goal margin or more, which is why City fans are concerned that if the first goal is to come, it should be to the men in sky blue. But United have looked the most likely from what we've seen so far.
They just need something, a little run, maybe from Robinho or Sean Wright-Phillips to spark them into life, you feel. Get the crowd going as well.
Here's Raphael. Fletcher. Ferdinand. And here's Vidic. Carrick. Berbatov. The ball is picked out to Park. Nice comfortable possession again from United. Richards unable to reach the header. It's Ronaldo. Evra. Rooney sticking out a leg for it. Evra's there! The blaze is over.
Well, the way things have shaped up in this first half, it seems only a matter of time before the first Manchester United goal comes. Again, it's good play, it's good movement. I thought Joe Hart got the slightest touch on this. He gives a goal kick. No, just off.
United have looked comfortable without the lead to show for it. Been involved in a couple of goalless draws in their last 2 matches. Here's Berbatov. Cristiano Ronaldo.
They just seem so uncertain, really, of the game plan, Manchester City, at the moment. I don't know whether to stick or twist. They're dropping off, but there's got to be a point where you've got to squeeze. I mean, Berbatov's dropped off the two centre-halves and been able to receive it into feet and turn, get the move going. You can't keep dropping off. The last thing you want to do is give him time and space.
Vidic. Now Wright Phillips. Berbatov. And back by Kompany. Benjani, now Haman. Well won by Berbatov. Here's Ronaldo. He really wants it bent round to him. He's going to have to try and retrieve that.
He didn't have a lot to aim at. Cristiano Ronaldo had a glance up. Tried to find Rooney.
Fletcher. It's Garrido. The ball from Rio Ferdinand. It's just standing up to Robinho.
Just seems a lack of self-belief in this Manchester City side, you know, as if they don't believe they can compete toe-to-toe with this United team. Second best everywhere.
Vidic. Now Ferdinand. Berbatov. Evra. Carrick. Fletcher. Now Park. Strange game really, because half an hour approaching and Manchester United seem comfortable, but with nothing to show for it.
No, that's the good news, isn't it, for City? That scoreline in the top left-hand corner. Total one-way attack against defence at the moment. And you wouldn't have said that at the start of this game, would you? Local derby. We didn't think it was going to be a scrap, a physical one. We don't get that so much these days. But you expected City to come out the blocks and show a lot more confidence in possession than they have, and be a lot more threatening.
There's been much talk in view of their transfer funds of statements of intent from Manchester City, and if ever there was a match in which to produce such a statement, you would think this was it. Here's Carrick. And kept in by Rooney. Throw-in given.
Made a little switch, Mark Hughes, put Stephen Ireland onto the right-hand side, and Sean Wright Phillips moving over to the other in an attempt to try and shake things up, because it needs it.
Benjani with a header on. Mark Hughes wants to see a bit more ambition from his team.
Sometimes it's not about ability, is it? Skill on the ball, and we talk so much about Robinho. It's just about a bit of heart, a bit of urgency. That's what they need. Turn it into a contest.
Well, he was a player who always showed plenty of courage and bravery in leading the front line. Who can get their head on the end of this? It's Garrido's kick. And Ireland hits it! Oh, and all it needed was a reaction.
I don't know if he thought he was offside, Micah Richards, so he thought he'd just try and leave it. The best moment by far, Manchester City. Makes a bit of a mess of the clearance, can't get any height and distance on it, Van der Sar. And he just, I think he leaves it, you know, Micah Richards, feeling he was offside. If he touches it, he's going to get flagged, but he certainly wasn't.
Well, they needed a bit more conviction about Micah Richards then. I mean, the effort from Ireland alone clipped the outside of the post. But had he been sharper with his reactions, then Manchester City's first chance of the game could have led to a goal, which just emphasises the strange nature of the contest.
Well, they need to just try and use that now. The crowds woke up a little bit after that flow of action. Need to try and keep pressing City.
Well, Evra felt he was fouled and then tried to knock Wright Phillips out of his stride. Vital clearance that from Ferdinand. Robinho still wants it though. Ireland is... it's a foul by Fletcher on Sean Wright Phillips, and it's a yellow card.
Well, it has had the desired effect. That near miss from City. It's livened the players up. One of the few occasions a City boot has got to the ball quicker than a United one. Draws the foul.
It's a word for the captain here, as Howard Webb looks to establish his authority and restore a bit of order. Well, the last free kick gave Van der Sar a bit of a problem, from which he came off second best, and Robinho here seems keen to maybe test the goalkeeper. Is he tempted? You bet he's tempted.
It's a long way out, isn't it? He needs a little deflection in the way that he got off his goal-scoring account, wasn't it? Free kick. As Chelsea came off the wall.
It's for Sells' header. Now Benjani. Here's Haman. Stephen Ireland. Away by Vidic. Lovely touch from Rooney. Here's Carrick. Two up to his right. Berbatov.
Just seemed to slip at the point of contact there. What an exquisite touch from Wayne Rooney. Look at that, beautiful. And they're right at City. Just lining up the shot. If his standing foot gives way a touch.
Berbatov. Ronaldo. Lovely awareness, Evra, past Richards, through to pull it across to, and back to Evra, and away by Ireland.
Well, they really have looked dangerous, haven't they? When Evra's got up that left-hand side. He chooses the right moment to let it go, Ronaldo with a little back heel. It came off a hand at one point. Was it Stephen Ireland's? I don't know. Half-hearted appeals.
Bit of teasing of Rooney here as the City fans are...
You can't resist it, can't resist it. Did it at Everton a few weeks back, kissing the badge.
Ireland deals with Rooney's corner, but it'll fall to Carrick here. A moment's hesitation by Hart, leaving it for Company to sort out. Wright Phillips, Carrick, offside Rooney. Well, what a day of derbies after the South Wales affair and the Manchester affair. A classic London clash to come later on Sky Sports 1 and HD1. It's Chelsea against Arsenal. Make sure you're with us from the start of the build-up at 3:30. Evra. Ball from Park. Dealt with by Rafael da Silva, who finds Wayne Rooney. Breaks off him though to Dunn. Headed by Vidic.
There's been a lot of talk, hasn't there, about the balance of this Manchester City side. Are there too many attack-minded players? And I think in an ideal world, Mark Hughes would believe that. And it's come to the fore so far in this match. They haven't been able to compete in the middle of the park. There's been an unbalanced look to it. Haven't got any kind of ball up to Benjani and supported him.
Away goes Evra. Richards wins it from him. Evra's been causing Richards some problems. Here's Park. Evra. Just teased Darius Vassell with that little touch.
Well, they're pretty happy at the moment, United, but having dominated this first half, they'll be less than pleased that they haven't scored yet, been able to make the breakthrough, because you have to think there'll be more to come for Manchester City. Once Mark Hughes was able to get into them at half-time.
Here's Carrick. Just one of those questions that persist about the balance of this City side. Goal scoring hasn't generally been a problem to them. They've scored in all of their league games here.
Where it's let them down today, really, has been able to contain the United attacks with too many attack-minded players. Evra, 3 or 4 times, has gone on the overlap, really, with nobody following it. In a 2 against 1, with him and Ronaldo against Micah Richards.
Rafael under pressure from Stephen Ireland. Header on by Berbatov. Away by Kompany. It's Fletcher's header. Shaun Wright-Phillips. It's Evra. Sir Alex Ferguson, who tends to be quite relaxed on the days of what are supposed to be high-pressured games.
Hasn't had much to worry about so far, has he?
It's Ferdinand. Haman. Robinho. Here's Benjani. A little stumble on the ball, but he's found Haman. Brilliantly slipped through. And the flag stayed down for Robinho. It was one of those that, again, you felt he had to go for.
Yeah, I think he was well within his rights to go for it. It's Rafael on Robinho. He's been booked. He's got to be careful. They're just squeezing that second ball. He's certainly on side. As a man pokes it through. Just his senses coming towards half-time. They're livening themselves up a touch, City. It's going to be painful for the keeper. But it was a loose ball.
We've seen 2 United players booked, and now Stephen Ireland joins them. Ferdinand's free kick. On by Berbatov. Rooney. And Park's there, and so too is Michael Carrick. Rooney! 1-0 Manchester United. It's a goal that had been coming And Rooney, who missed both the games last season through suspension, back in this fixture with a bang.
Well, what a time to score it. Just at the point where you thought they've had so much possession. One or two half chances that it's not going to come in this first half. Again, it's Berbatov drifting over to the left-hand side. Wins that header. After that, Manchester City are chasing. Look at the number of sky blue shirts in there, but they cannot prevent Carrick getting any shot. That's where Joe Hart needed a little bit of help. He doesn't get it. You cannot say United do not deserve this one-goal lead. They have been all over their local rivals, all over them.
It is the 100th goal of Wayne Rooney's career. And what an occasion on which to score it. His celebration in front of the City supporters, evidence of his delight. Benjani and Robinho ending up going for the same ball here. Ball in by Garrido, and the header away by Vidic.
Sometimes it takes going a goal down to shake you to life. Mark Hughes will be hoping that applies to his team.
Ball got away from her man. Rooney was there to pick it up, but here's Berbatov. Now Darren Fletcher. Berbatov. Carrick. Evra. Here's Ronaldo. Michael Carrick, taken down by Darius Vassell. Free kick that Carrick got on with. And here's Berbatov. United sensing that City might be vulnerable again here before half-time. The cross, though, blocked by Garrido.
He's scored for a while, hasn't he? Is it 7 games without a goal? What a time to end that drought.
Century of goals at the age of 23 now for Wayne Rooney. Here's Richards. Robinho. Away by Vidic. This is Ronaldo. Now Kompany. Flick on by Ireland. Beautiful. Benjani!
That was the best moment of the match, really, in terms of inspiration for Manchester City. Little first-time flick round the corner from Stephen Ireland. Always asking a lot to Tess van der Sar from there. And this is the goal. The simplest of tap-ins for the striker, but he anticipates the knockdown like all good strikers do. Little glance across to the assistant. Flag stays down. What he wants to see.
Do you think he was pleased with that one?
Just a touch.
Punching the air with relief as much as anything else, perhaps, because it looked as though Manchester United's first half dominance was about to go unrewarded. Two added minutes in the first half. Here's Carrick. Nemanja Vidic. Ferdinand. Carrick. Berbatov. Evra. Great driving run again. He's knocked out of his stride there by Vassell, who, having given away a free kick a few minutes ago, gets a card this time.
Picking up a few, aren't we?
Two bookings each now. Here's Ronaldo. Evra. Vidic. Now Carrick. Back by Ferdinand. Carrick. Beyond Rooney's reach.
I think Mark Hughes has spoken a lot about the huge amount of work he's still got to do in order to compete on a level playing field with the likes of Manchester United. Well, anybody inside this stadium for this first 45 would have been left in no doubt of the golfing class between these two sides at the moment. Really stamped the mark on this contest, Manchester United.
Well, Wayne Rooney's 7-match wait for his 100th career goal is over. His goal is the difference after it looked as though United's excellent work in that first half might go unrewarded. Manchester City 0, Manchester United.
It will be the change, and Didi Hamann will go off.
You still think they play with 3 strikers?
as well.
You still
Alano's
think
coming on.
Okay.
So that shows that Mark Hughes hasn't wasted his time at half-time, has it? I mean, he's got in there, he said, right, we need to change things.
Get people that can. I mean, that's what they're going to look for Elano to do, to get onto the ball, keep this team ticking, because they've not retained the ball at all.
Well, let's get back and get all that sorted out then with our commentators Alan Smith and Rob Hawthorne.
Well, there was a decision made right at the end of the half by Mark Hughes. Zabaleta and Elano have been warming up for much of that half-time break, and they're coming on for Darius Vassell and Dietmar Hamann. Will it be the magical ingredient that Manchester City need to get a foothold in this game? Haven't seen enough from Benjani and Robinho so far to cause Manchester United too many problems, and Wayne Rooney's goal is the difference. Well, including this one, Manchester United's first 8 away games in the Premier League this season have been against the 8 teams that finished immediately below them when they finished as champions last. It shows just what a tough start they've had on the road, and they've conjured just 2 victories from those matches so far. But they're in a commanding position, and really the 1-goal lead doesn't reflect their supremacy in the game as a whole so far. And Mark Hughes will have welcomed that opportunity to reorganise at half-time.
Yeah, he didn't mess about, did he? As you said, Rob, I think he'd made up his mind towards the end of that first half what he was going to do. Certainly knew something had to be done, because they've been a long way, second best so far.
Well, as expected, Micah Richards has now gone into the centre of defence, and Kompany is occupying a role in front of the back 4. There's Ferdinand looking for Park. Held off there by Richard Dunn. That was Kompany. Ball from Sean Wright-Phillips. And here's Zabaleta. Up towards Benjani. Wright-Phillips with the ball across. Sean Wright-Phillips now in a more natural wide role. Chelsea here in April, the last team to stop Manchester City from scoring in a league match at home. There's Ronaldo. Got clipped just as he laid that ball off to Wayne Rooney. And here's Carrick. Away by Elano. Ireland. Robinho. Elano. City already functioning a bit smoother now. Garrido. Elano. Park won the tackle, but got a bit of the man in the process.
Yeah, he did. Elano with a player that they want to get the ball into the feet of, so he can act as a go-between between those midfield players, and Benjani and the wide lads. He's capable of holding the ball at least, and allowing teammates to get up in support.
Well, Michael Richards had a chance from a free kick in the first half that caught even him by surprise. But he's forward again for a delivery from the same player, Javier Garrido. Ireland just waiting at the edge. Benjani, Robinho, Kompany, all amidst the throng as well. And it doesn't reach any of them. Cleared by Fletcher. Dunn. Fletcher again. Ferdinand. Now Elano. Company. Ireland steering it into the path of Sean Wright-Phillips. Few bodies to get through. Thought he was checked in the end by Vidic, but he wasn't. Ferdinand just switched off for a moment, and Robinho nicked it from him and won a corner.
Yeah, he was asking his keeper Van der Sar for a shout, Rio Ferdinand. He didn't know Robinho was lurking behind, but much better from City, playing a little bit of football in dangerous areas. Ferdinand had no clue where Robinho was. Gets another knock, Sean.
Well, perhaps a sign of City's progress that they've won their first corner of the game. Didn't make the most of it, though. Van der Sar has quickly found Rooney, who's got Park breaking to his left, and that's a brilliant ball steered through to him. And what a recovery challenge from Sean Wright-Phillips.
He made up some ground, didn't he? What a lovely effort, though, from Wayne Rooney.
Well, they've got on with the corner and they've played it short to Rooney. And it's away by Garrido to Michael Carrick. Well, relieved to see that one go wide.
No, totally switched off. Manchester City, short corner. Even now, Man U players in space. They get away with it there, City.
Well, they could so easily then have thrown away their good work at the start of the second half by switching off for Wayne Rooney. Here's Robinho. Leaves Raphael behind and finds Stephen Ireland. Zabaleta has got forward here. Cross blocked by Ebra. It's Kompany who's onto it. Vincent Kompany!
Well, it's a totally different story, isn't it, at the moment, from the first half. Lots of sky blue shirts in and around the box in support here. Nothing wrong with a strike from Kompany.
Well, that's more like it for Mark Hughes' Manchester City. Making more of a go of it at the start of the second half. Berbatov.
Well, you can bet your life so Alex Ferguson would have warned his players of a fight back after that first half. And that's reflected in the possession early on here.
Berbatov! And it's almost broke for Fletcher, but Garrido was there to clear. Elano. In goes Raphael. Free kick given. Referee just let it run to see if there would be an advantage, but it didn't materialise. Ferdinand. Here's Berbatov. Garrido. Robinho. Kompany had to retrieve that. Here's Robinho. Now Elano. Kompany. Zabaleta. Ireland. Kompany. This is done. Now Elano. Garrido. Elano targeting Sean Wright-Phillips. Well, fell a bit short for Robinho. Run back by Evra for Raphael.
There is a bit more belief in this Manchester City side. In the second half, I'm sure the manager would have reminded him of that fact that there are good players in here. Go out and show it.
Vidic not happy with the pressure there applied by Benjani. Ronaldo did well with the throw from Van der Sar, which had done him few favours. He's worked it into the path of Berbatov. Dimitar Berbatov and Sean Wright-Phillips.
Well, just getting the footing a little bit more now in the second half. City.
Since even before Mark Hughes' arrival in mid-March, every Premier League win here for City has been followed immediately by defeat. They haven't won consecutive league fixtures here since the 9 in a row at the start of last season. In fact, it was Mark Hughes' Blackburn that ended that run. And here City are looking to follow up that outstanding success against Arsenal. An uncomfortable first half for them, but getting more into their groove now. Stephen Ireland looking for Benjani. Vidic away. United defence that hasn't been too seriously taxed so far could come under greater pressure now with Elano. Run by Park. Carrick looking to hit Rooney early. Berbatov pops over to the right here. Rooney forced him a little wide and Dunn got the block in.
Well, he did well, Richard Dunn, because it wasn't helped by Elano, who was closest to Ji-sung Park to start off with, but he just doesn't make enough effort to track him all the way. He brought Elano on for his attacking qualities, but he's really got to track Park when he makes those kind of dashes.
Wayne Rooney's corner, met by Richard Dunn. Back out to Rooney again. Came off Elano, and Richard Dunn couldn't be sure to leave that to his goalkeeper. It was one he had to deal with. Berbatov just switched off for a moment, and Ireland nipped in.
A better work rate from City in the second half.
It's a great ball from Elano to Sean Wright-Phillips, and look at the way that Zabaleta is bombing onto his right. He's looked through the middle for Benjani and into the side netting.
That's more like it, isn't it? Counter-attacking at pace and decisively. All sorts of room out on that right-hand side. Not an easy one at all. He's got Rio Ferdinand in close attendance, asking an awful lot to squeeze that one in.
Benjani, who's got a couple of key goals against Manchester United in his career, scored on his debut in that 2-1 victory at Old Trafford last February, having already scored against them for Portsmouth earlier in the season. Collision from which Kompany feels the pain.
Berbatov's okay. Eyes suffered.
Had eyes only for the ball, Vincent Kompany.
Maybe a bit more pleased the way his players have responded. Mark Hughes in the second half. Much more of an even contest now. Don't want to lose him though. He's made a difference at the base of that midfield.
Well, the goal for Manchester United came just 3 minutes from the end of the first half. It's Wayne Rooney's 100th of his career.
It's a lovely feat from Michael Carrick just to shift it away from the defenders to give himself space. Those are the little tap-ins you love as a striker. Get just as much pleasure out of them, particularly on such a huge occasion.
Well, he's had an earful from the City fans at both ends of this ground, having been the first to stick himself forward to take all of the corner kicks. So you can understand the pleasure that he took in that goal. He scored in 2 previous derby wins for Manchester United. Blood flow from Kompany's nose just being stemmed, but he wants to get back on as quickly as possible, and I'm sure Mark Hughes wants him out there as quickly as possible. There's going to have to be a change of shirt as well, though. Ferdinand. Now Evra. Zabaleta coming in with the tackle. Carrick. Kompany He's come back on, wearing the number 50. Here's Park. Struggle between Rubinho and Park. Elano tried to help out. It's Berbatov who emerges with it.
It was a wild swing from Elano in the back that Howard Webb saw, but allowed it to go on.
Well won by Evra from Wright Phillips. Dropped a bit short for Ronaldo. He did well to keep that going. Here's Evra. Just wanted too long. Ronaldo coming back, making the tackle. A huge cry to which the referee responds, and it's a yellow card for Cristiano Ronaldo, and sarcastic applause, which is risking further action from the referee.
Well, start off with it was really good defensive play from Shaun Wright-Phillips, who's worked really hard. He's desperate to get back goal side Ronaldo, and he's not far off the ball at all, you know. Whether he gets a nick, I'm not sure. The player always appeals that he has. I think he's a little unlucky though, even if he didn't get the ball.
Well, lucky maybe in respect of the booking, but perhaps a little lucky that no further action was taken for his reaction. Here's Park with the cross. Carrick. Now Ronaldo. Away by Ireland.
And gets that everywhere he goes now, Ronaldo, as well as the physical treatment. I don't think it puts him off too much.
Here's Carrick. Ball from Vidic. Park lost his footing. Rubinho. Elano. Away by Vidic. On by Carrick. Here's Ronaldo. Good interception by Company, and now Shaun Wright-Phillips. Here's Rubinho. Company. Rubinho trying to master Darren Fletcher. Brought the free kick out of him.
Oh, they've kept him quiet so far, Manchester United on Rubinho. He's going to Howard Webb just explain his actions here to Darren Fletcher. He felt he didn't make much contact with the Brazilian.
Well, he is a player on a yellow card already. Darren Fletcher. I think he was warned there that he could give the referee a huge problem with another offence. It's Elano with a free kick.
Oh dear. Why would you mind say that one? Well, it's been a frustrating time so far, hasn't been able to play his football in the kind of areas he would want to. He just gets done by quick feet, really. Fletcher.
Vidic. Now Rooney. Away goes Evra. Lightning quick though, Richards.
Well, he's caught him, hasn't he, on the follow-through. Looks in a bit of pain, the left back. Nothing wrong with the challenge. It was a good one from Micah Richards.
It looked as though Evra had got away, but Richards with other ideas, and it was a very positive challenge. Ronaldo. Flag up again. against Evra.
Well, they've certainly been better in this second half, Manchester City, but haven't been able to carve out any chances as yet. Seen more of the ball, looked more confident. But Manchester United will be fairly pleased, I think, with the way they've handled this fight back of sorts anyway from City. It's gaining control again now.
Here's Raphael. Given away by Fletcher. Company. Sean Wright-Phillips. Here's Elano. Give Park the run around. Here's Robinho. Wright-Phillips. He aimed to play in Zabaleta, but the execution wasn't good enough, and Rooney here looks to break. It's Berbatov he's given it to. Berbatov up against Richard Dunn. Just tried to get it through the gap between Garrido and Dunn. And it breaks here for Elano.
Well done did there, just to stay on his feet. Up against Berbatov, who must be such a tricky customer.
Well, Robinho took the kick, even though Raphael wasn't 10 yards away, but that was his choice.
Well, I think he was trying to get Raphael into trouble there, just by hitting it against the right back. He's wasted the ball for them.
Here's Sean Wright-Phillips. It's a free kick against Patrice Evra. Which has the referee reaching for another card.
Well, certainly making the Manchester United defence work a lot harder in this second half.
Well, both United fullbacks now on bookings. And Patrice Evra ruled out of the game against Tottenham.
Wasted the last one, didn't they? Which is a little bit wider than this when Elano blasted it high into the stand. But Garrido looks like he's going to kill one goalwards here with a bit of pace.
Garrido!
Van der Sar was fairly comfortable in the end.
Four games now, Manchester United have gone without conceding since Sami Nasri's decisive strike for Arsenal. Here's Berbatov. Ronaldo. Rooney. Well, Fletcher was there. All the more crucial then that Garrido stepped in. Rooney. Fletcher. Back to Rooney. Park was closed down by Richards.
And it's a fine line they tread now, isn't it? City wanting to push more men forward, but United look more than capable of getting the second here, the way they're coming at that City back four in the passing and the movement.
Ferdinand awaiting the corner. Vidic forward two. It's taken by Rooney. Ronaldo went at it with his hands, and having already been booked, what is the referee's view of that? Well, he's calling him towards him, and this spells trouble for Manchester United and Cristiano Ronaldo. Howard Webb is pulling him out. He was sent off here nearly 3 years ago for a challenge on Andy Cole. And it's the end for Ronaldo. It's a second yellow. He's off.
Well, you never want to get sent off for something as innocuous of that. I know by the letter of the law it's an intentional handball as Howard Webb sees it. They're saying he got a push in the back. Rio Ferdinand certainly appealing that the Portuguese did get a shove in the back, and that's what caused him to raise his hands up in the air.
Well, he's very reluctant to leave the field here, Cristiano Ronaldo.
Well, he needs to get off. The red card's been shown. Well, there wasn't much of a shove at all, was there? I don't quite know what he was doing there. I think he's saying he heard a whistle, you know, and that's why the arms came up. He was just gesturing the fact that he'd heard a whistle. He thought play had been stopped, but that's a dangerous game. Why not just head it in the net and ask questions later? Such an adept header of the ball. Did the hard bit, had a little bit of space, rose well, the header was on.
Well, Sir Alex Ferguson is going to, one assumes, have to be fairly measured in what he says about that. He himself is starting a too-much touchline ban after this game for a previous clash with the referee, Mike Dean.
Well, Ronaldo certainly thought he'd heard a whistle. That's what he was appealing to the ref, but you can't expect Howard Webb really to make allowances for that kind of excuse. He didn't get shoved in the back. You know, I think Howard Webb thought about it. I think he was reluctant to show the yellow card at the start, but then realised he didn't have much choice. It was an intentional handball.
Here's Kompany. Flag up against Benjani. Well, his team have got an advantage, but can they use it to their advantage with 20 minutes to go? Wayne Rooney is still addressing the point of that sending off with Howard Webb. It's the second Manchester United player that the referee has sent off this season. He dismissed Nemanja Vidic in United's defeat at Anfield. Vidic. Kompany. Shaun Wright-Phillips. Looking to get away from Evra. It's a deep cross. Robinho going for it, and it's cleared by Ferdinand. Now done. Here's Kompany. Garrido's ball in, it's blocked by Raphael.
Well, it's all about Manchester United's defensive resilience now, isn't it? We'd expect to see City have a lot of the ball. Just put Berbatov up front on his own. Wayne Rooney dropped in on the left-hand side now to compensate.
Garrido's corner. Dunn's there with a header. Onto the roof of the net. Well, let's see if we can hear a referee's whistle that might have convinced Ronaldo. Well, there's a whistle afterwards, isn't there?
Well, yeah, certainly a whistle afterwards.
I couldn't hear one before.
You're always going to get whistles from the crowd.
It's a very strange one. I mean, he's so good in the air, Ronaldo. Why would he go for it with his hands? Here's Ireland. Header out by Nemanja Vidic. Well, we expect a City bombardment now. They've been given encouragement. Here's Vincent Kompany. He's away from Carrick. Here's Robinho. And now Elano. By Garrido. Elano again. Richard Dunn. Garrido, Robinho, Elano. And it's Ireland who's helped it on, and Zabaleta's here with the advantage played. Cross deep and clears everybody, but Elano keeps it moving. City with that extra man bearing down on the United goal. Garrido's ball in. Raphael bringing some respite with a clearance.
Well, it's important from City's point of view that they don't just go gung-ho and throw everything at it. They've got to try and keep the shape and retain the patience a little bit. Still a fair distance to go in this match.
Company. Here's Richard Dunn. Company looking for Benjani. Cut out by Darren Fletcher. Well, Manchester United needing to draw on all their reserves of character now. They've lost one of their key men in Ronaldo. Sent off for a bizarre second bookable offence.
If you're going to pick a defence to try and hold out, you'd probably pick Manchester United, especially lately. Backed up a few clean sheets, haven't they, on the trot? Know each other very well, apart from Raphael, of course, the right back. The three played together so many times. I'd be glad of decisions like that.
He's concerned about the fitness here of Micah Richards. It could be a fingernail-biting last quarter of an hour for the Manchester United section, within sight of a victory to end their recent pain against City after the 2 defeats last year, but suddenly the outcome thrown into question by that red card decision. Second time that Cristiano Ronaldo has been sent off in this fixture. So it doesn't look good for Richards. The change sees the one Manchester-born player in the two squads today, Dan Sturridge, coming on. So Vincent Kompany drops back into the position where he started the match in central defence alongside Richard Dunn.
Well, just gives them that extra attacking player, just asking his boss where he wants him. Next to Benjani, I think, is the answer up front.
Well, Sturridge was the man whose penalty set the seal on that fine victory here against Arsenal late on in the last league game at Eastlands. Here's Carrick. On by Rooney.
Terrific pace, that was, you know, from Patrice Evra to make up that ground.
Let's have a word about the sending off. Our reporter Guy Havold has some news for us.
Yes, Ronaldo went down the tunnel, didn't he? But he came into our interview area and he watched the replays and he was absolutely distraught and disbelieving. And he said, I heard a beep, I heard a beep. He cannot believe that he's been sent off, and eventually trudged back to the dressing room.
So Ronaldo confirming that initial impression that he felt he perhaps heard a referee's whistle and was bringing the ball down to stop play. But in fact, there had been no whistle, and Howard Webb showed him a second yellow card and a consequent red. Here's Rooney.
Well, the motto of that, Rob, is to put the ball in the net and ask questions later.
Yeah.
And as a striking, attack-minded player, Cristiano Ronaldo, I'm surprised he didn't do it. It was a great chance for him.
Ferdinand. Rooney. Here's Park. Now Fletcher. Rafael da Silva.
What they've got going from the course, Manchester United, is players that can keep the ball comfortable in possession, just tick down the clock. What they are doing now.
Rooney. Fletcher. Vidic. Rooney. Company with a challenge. There's Ireland. Sturridge. Cleared by Rafael. Here's Dunn. Now Elano. Ferdinand coming in to meet Dan Sturridge. Clearance from Richard Dunn. Gives it away to Michael Carrick. Here's Rooney, nothing to his left. That's the vacancy left by Ronaldo. Rubinho. Elano. Away by Rafael. Possession conceded by Garrido, and Zabaleta getting in tight to Wayne Rooney. More derby action to come, of course. Chelsea against Arsenal, live Sky Sports 1 and HD1, and the build-up to that starts at 3:30. Fascinating clash, with Chelsea having been so good in the Premier League, less than convincing in the Champions League, and the other way round for Arsenal.
Expect Manchester City to try and use the full width of the pitch here when you've got the extra man. Try and stretch your opponents.
Well, his team have to make the running. Mark Hughes didn't lose his first 3 league meetings against Manchester United as Blackburn manager. He won 2 in his first full season in charge at Ewood Park. Here's Elano. Rubinho is there in the middle. It's taken though by Edwin van der Sar. Berbatov. Carrick. Fletcher. Oh.
Right foot on the ball there, Stephen Ireland. Dispossessed Fletcher. Frustrating for them, and they're keeping it United, and they get a chance. They got the foot first, didn't they? Then the ball.
Ireland, the one City player on the pitch now at risk, having been booked earlier. Company. Here's Carrick. Through the middle towards Berbatov. Dunn made it, but here's Rooney. Never held off by Sean Wright-Phillips. United throw.
And you still sense they've got a goal in them. Manchester United, even though they're down to 10 men.
Just about protecting a lead. Situation calls for an experienced head, perhaps, and none more experienced in the United ranks than Ryan Giggs. He's coming on for the last 7 minutes plus stoppage time here.
Berbatov's going to take his time. I think he's going to jog off, much to Marcuse's frustration.
Well, the referee has made the point that he stopped the watch while Berbatov has come off. Giggs coming on a day after his 35th birthday. It's 21 years and 1 day ago that Manchester United signed a 14-year-old who had been a schoolboy at City. That player, Ryan Giggs, who's still looking for his first Premier League goal of this season. Might be just a question of hanging on to the one that Rooney's already got, though, for now. Just about kept that in. City making heavy weather of it, though, and here's Evra. Away in the end by Ireland. Now Shaun Wright-Phillips, he's got away from Carrick. He takes him down.
That's only going to end one way, isn't it? Michael Carrick realises that.
Here's Garrido. Elano. Ball from Kompany, now Robinho. It's backed by Dunn. Shaun Wright-Phillips round Evra. Carrick's there to turn it away to Rooney. And Giggs just timing his run, Dunn going with him. Vidic. Now Evra.
They've settled down really well, actually, Manchester United, since losing Ronaldo. Stayed organised at the back, haven't panicked, kept the ball.
Here's Raphael.
That's a strange one.
For shirt pull, it seemed. Raphael bemused. And Sir Alec Ferguson just as puzzled.
Well, he's just going to let the linesman know what he thinks.
A verbal volley for the linesman. And the Manchester United manager.
He was in trouble the other day, wasn't he?
Yeah, right. Punished. Well, had words to say to Mike Dean after the whole game, for which his two-match touchline ban comes up after this game. So we'll be having to watch what he says. He won't be too happy with some of the decisions. Interesting to see if he has anything to say to Howard Webb at the end on the pitch.
I think it's difficult for him to make a defence for Ronaldo. I really do.
Well, Giggs has won the throw-in, and again there's a reluctance on United's part, understandably, to get on with it. Rooney and co now just looking to frustrate Manchester City into submission.
Well, we've got a few minutes left, but so far at least they've been really comfortable, Manchester United. They've gone down to 10 men. No worries at all. Can they mount a fight back? Grandstand finish for City. Haven't been at the best today, no question of that. Only a bit of urgency now.
Here's Elano. Kompany. Elano. Now Robinho. Looking for Benjani with a cross. It's Ferdinand who meets it. Now Sturridge. Milano. Garrido. Robinho. Little clip looking for Benjani, but Vidic with the clearance, and then Rooney away. It's Kompany's header back. Here's Dunn. Manchester United are preparing John O'Shea to come on. What can only really be stoppage time, on which City's hopes of a comeback will rest. Here's Dunn. Ireland and Benjani both in the area. Raphael coming in and winning the ball, as he had to. Milano. Raphael away. Here's Kompany. Now Milano. Kompany going directly through the middle, or at least trying to find Ireland. Now Rooney. Rooney knocked out of his stride, wins a free kick, and that eases some of the pressure on Manchester United as stoppage time approaches. And here comes the change, with Park coming off to be replaced by John O'Shea. It's a question for John O'Shea now of preserving what Manchester United have.
This one's John O'Shea on the right side of midfield here, just to bolster it up.
There are 4 added minutes. Still hope for Manchester City to make the extra man tell. Here's Robinho. Now Zabaleta. This is Dunn. Garrido, blocked by John O'Shea. Garrido again. Here's Ilano. Kompany. Zabaleta's cross, oh, Fletcher let it go, and so did Vidic. And here's Robinho, and Ferdinand relieved to get that one away.
Just a glimmer of indecision there, haven't done much wrong at all defensively this afternoon, Manchester United. The decision's not going City's way.
I thought the big one had gone their way when Ronaldo exited the stage. But so far, City have not been able to exploit the man over. Richard Dunn sizing it up for his fellow countryman Stephen Ireland. Belted clear by Rooney. Here's Kompany. Now Ilano. Can they find a trick or two to get through this resilient United defence? Benjani's away from O'Shea. Ireland climbing, looking for a corner, getting a corner. Joe Hart wondering whether he should come forward. Mark Hughes has told him to.
Yeah.
Typical vision from Wayne Rooney, and it very nearly came off in the grand manner. City being urged on for one last effort. They very nearly broke through with this man's close-range attempt. Richard Dunn. Evra frustrated him, and here's Kompany. Richard Dunn again. City supporters willing their team to get into an attacking position, and that might be last chance gone.
Well, they haven't had many chances, have they? But he had one of the best. And he's still thinking about that, Richard Dunn. On the post, it's a combination of the two, it looks like. They both stay switched on. Shows a bit of pace, Joe Hart. Cover his goal.
Extraordinary finish for the two goalkeepers. And Manchester United end their Derby Day pain. Wayne Rooney makes them the pride of Manchester, despite the sending off of Cristiano Ronaldo. They held on to Rooney's first half goal. He very nearly added a second right at the end with a brilliant piece of improvisation. The pre-match stars, Robinho and Ronaldo. Robinho the only one to finish the game, but it's United who finish as winners of the match. Manchester City 0, Manchester United 1.
Cool. Can't wait to hear from Sir Alex Ferguson. He'll have plenty to say about that. That's an absolute certainty. No goals in any of the other games elsewhere in the Premier League yet. When there is, we'll tell you about them. Let's have a look at what that does. No change for Manchester City at the bottom end. For Manchester United, and remember, Chelsea and Arsenal are about to start. So where we are at the bridge, Manchester United stay third, but close the gap. Still played